I am. Okay. Ready, Pua? Okay, let's do it. All right, here we are. This is the regular meeting of the Woodbridge Conservation Commission. Today is December 21st, 2017. And we start the meeting with public comments. We have nobody here for public comment. We'll move right along to review and approve the minutes of the November 26th regular meeting. So the regular meeting minute.
Motion.
I will second the motion to approve the regular meeting minute. Any discussion about those? All in favor? Aye.
I'm going to.
And one abstain. Review and approve minutes of the November 19th special meeting. Tracy indicates he didn't see them, which might be my fault. So just as a refresher, this was the special meeting to walk the trails at the Darling House, as well as back towards the Nugent property to evaluate the potential of doing a bigger trail walk for the public on a subsequent date. Leland, I thought had sent them to everybody, but maybe not.
It was.
And pardon me while I just dig through my archives here.
Yeah. Lyman.
My apologies. No, that was the khaki wick. Well, let's table those until the next meeting. Since I apparently can't bring them up, Leland isn't here to verify where they were sent to.
Maybe.
And
Right.
we will review those for the January meeting. All right. Next on the agenda is the summary of our 2017 trail walk. So our most recent trail walk was here in December, just last weekend, the weekend before. My weekends are blurring together on me now. December 10th is what it was. It was behind the Darling House. There was an attendance of one.
I showed up, but you had already taken off, I think.
It was 1:30.
No, I was 15 minutes late.
Okay. Yes, I did leave. After 10 minutes, I decided that I would have a walk.
All right.
And it was a wonderful walk. I took some pictures. I needed to get them out there. There were some other people out on the trail that day. They weren't part of our organized walk. I saw that they had pulled up along the side of the highway and parked on that parking area along the Litchfield Turnpike. Beautiful sunny day. Sunny, because it had just snowed. It was extra bright and reflective.
Was it slippery?
It was a little slippery, but it's what would you expect with about an inch or two of snow on the ground.
But I mean that trail.
That wasn't too bad. There's those few ups when you get closer to West Rock, so you got to be a little careful going up and down. But once you're on the two levels of the trail, they're fairly flat.
I think that's where I felt it was out. Right?
Did you take that yellow trail that goes down into the Nugent property and along that?
I did not.
Around the
For a couple of one, I just didn't have, since I was by myself.
Oh, okay.
I didn't feel like we had to do the full walk.
No, of course not. Yeah. Well, it wasn't.
But if we did have the full group and I was the only one there, I had heard affirmative on permission to go onto the property, so I wouldn't have taken anybody onto the property that day.
Yeah, I think the trail kind of skirts around the Nugent property. What I've seen, I don't know that.
And it's tough to say whether it's Nugent or not because you're in the middle of the woods and there's no
that's what
lines
I'm
painted
saying.
on
It
the ground.
seems close enough to the ridge where it might be just alongside the east end of the Nugent property, but I'm not sure either.
So that wrapped up trail walks for 2017. And I just wanted to get the feeling in the room about the trail walk. I know that they're lightly attended, but the original intent was mostly to get all of us that were new to the commission out onto the trails that you hadn't been on before and just gain familiarity with the trail. How do you feel how the 2017 walk? Good, bad, you could take it or leave it.
No, I think they're good.
I like going out.
You were all right. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed those walks. I don't think any of us can make every one of them.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But
Well, exactly.
nevertheless,
That's
I
the-
really
But the
think
one-
we should do them
Yeah.
because, especially when you get a really nice day, a lot of people turn out.
Yeah.
It's good to be up.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say.
We don't.
It's nice to stay current on what you can actually see.
Mhm.
All right. So we should continue. My thought is that we probably need to publicize them better to try and get attendance up. And we haven't done anything other than Facebook page, town blasts,
Website, yeah.
and whatnot.
And Lauren usually does a fair job somehow getting
I know.
people to come. So
Yeah,
however she
so
does
people
that, she
can
does a
come. I
pretty good
think
job.
people enjoy
Like it,
going.
Yeah.
I mean, it's such a nice, different thing to do than normal heavy thinking, I mean, it's such a nice break from,
Yeah.
I think, being outside is so nice.
And that's why I took the walk by myself on the
Uh-huh.
15th. It was just a
Sorry.
nice little getaway and it was refreshing. I hadn't been on the trails in over a month, so it was nice to get out. We'll talk more about this at their next meeting, but my thinking is maybe we ought to actually use some of our allocated budget to get some word out. Maybe not for every single walk, but maybe get an ad into a paper or something that might
Or what
hit.
about, I feel like those
bigger.
sawhorse, what are those called?
Oh, yeah, the sandwich
I
boards.
feel like those are really effective at the corner
They
over
can be,
there.
yeah.
I think they can be.
You have like
I-
3 of them,
Mhm.
like post 3 of them.
And we
Big
could reuse
letters,
them.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, well, I think we need to.
Or long.
I'm not sure if
or
you're
like
in
the
charge
long
of getting them.
sign
It used to be
thing.
Joe Hellauer. We'd get a hold of it.
I
You
can
know, like
help
when
with
they
those.
advertise for
I
the
think
food or something like
part
Yeah.
of
that.
the difficulty
Yeah,
is
those
you
things.
guys all
It's
tentatively
hard to get
plan
all the
things in
details.
advance.
Then things
Or
change
just
based
trail
on
walk and
people's
then
Maybe
schedules.
something to
Yeah.
And
the
weather.
date and the
Yeah.
time.
You could say check for
Yeah.
weather related.
I mean, it'd have to be
Mhm.
something short because people are driving,
Right.
Yeah. But once people get used to knowing that it's coming up, then they can.
Yeah, I
I
certainly
don't-
would like to
yeah,
continue
fair
the
idea.
trail walks myself too. I just think we need to figure out a strategy for getting greater attendance.
You might put publicity at cornfield.
Yeah.
That's
In
a
the
good idea.
library.
All right, so I'm going to add to the next publicity ideas for trail walk. It works. I can attest to it. What we did on Massaro Farm, getting the word out.
Younger and old. Problem with me is when you have kids who play sports, there's no
Yeah.
ever be anywhere. So the weekends are hard. So
So maybe we should plan the trail walks starting at the ball fields on days when there's games.
exactly.
Yeah.
There you go.
Starting at Acorn Hill. Yeah.
There is trails in
There are
the
trails right
in
by
the
ball field.
area,
Yeah.
but they're a little more tricky. I was thinking over by the soccer
Road,
lacrosse
yeah.
field on Pease Road. There's actually access.
Oh, there is.
Yeah.
Sort of.
There's a new playground. Yeah.
I could do it done by the end of the game. Could make
All right, so we'll talk about trail walks
Okay,
again
that's a good
in
plan.
January. Next on the agenda is the Deep OSWA grant. This is the open space and watershed acquisition grant that we've talked about in the last few meetings, with a focus on the Nugent property over in the 1875 Litchfield Turnpike. It's a 25-acre parcel surrounded mostly by town, state land. Would be a great connector for
Right.
extending the trails. At this point, Betsy reminded me that there are requirements for assessments, appraisals on the property. And I couldn't remember if we still had some valid appraisals that were going to expire at the beginning of 2018. Betsy kindly reminded me that they expired at the beginning of 2017.
Oh.
So,
Oh my gosh.
and it takes 6 to 8 weeks.
6
Ball.
or a little less, but
Yeah.
It'd be very, very tight for the time.
And each costs anywhere from, it was 1 to 6,000 roughly.
Yeah, I think it was.
They
the
lay
three quotes
average.
we got rate were in between 2,000 and 4,000 each, and we need 2.
Yeah. So that particular logistic puts a real
It derails us.
cramp on things.
Yes.
I'm sure there's some way to expedite it, but we'd also have to get approval for spending upwards of $8,000 and putting 2 appraisals together. Additionally, contacting and negotiating with the Nugent family, because you
Right.
want to make sure that
Which
if you
that
apply
was-
for this grant, they all
Right. And
are
that,
on board
and
to sell.
before this detail, that was the biggest hurdle.
So I'm of the opinion that we not move forward with that grant application this year, given those difficulties.
Yeah.
Is that sort of the consensus here? I've mentioned the Park Lane just because that's another one that's available at the moment, and it would run into the same sort of situation.
With the assessment.
There's a willing seller for sure, because the market, the property's on the market. So this is another property at the end of Park Lane.
You're gonna have a lot of offers pretty soon.
Yeah. Park Lane's got 10 acres, this particular parcel, and it too is surrounded by town and public utility property. And there is a trail that goes around that private property right now.
We still run into the time constraints.
We run into the
And
appraisal.
We run into the,
Right. And we'd want approval from the Board of Selectmen to move forward with it as well. So at this point,
on the Nugent property, we've already attempted that twice.
I know
And,
that's.
and
I feel
other
like
boards have
we
attempted
should
that same
read the writing on
property.
the wall.
Yeah.
So it's a difficult property.
Yeah,
I think we should
take a little
possibly try to get an easement from, talk to Mr. Nugent about a possible easement on that property.
I agree.
It would
Frank.
serve our purposes almost as well,
Yeah.
because we just want to tie those two,
And if
those two ends of the,
Right.
Decide they want to
Town
sell, they
together.
can come talk to us. But,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
I think rather than trying to get, acquire the property, we should, at this point, try to get an easement.
I mean, especially
And-
because we haven't had any negotiating.
Yep. And I think we had this very same discussion at the beginning of the year
I think we did.
when we decided that the grant for 2017 was not going to be a go. And we never really followed through on it. So I'm looking to point a finger at someone to take the lead on following this through this time around.
I'll take the lead on it, but I believe it has to go through.
It has to-
through
yeah.
the town, so I
Yeah,
have to
you-
work with
you would be
Betsy or
sort of-
someone else
Yeah.
to we do that. Contact Mr. Nugent and possibly talk to him about. Yeah, I'd be happy to do that.
All right, so I'm going to have you be the lead and then work with Betsy regularly, and that way we can kind of month by month get small. I'm sure it's going to be a slow process.
Sure.
But at least we can have you as our lead for this particular project on acquiring some easement or agreement or something.
Making
that-
something
Yeah, well,
Gets
I
us-
think it's really important that we have somebody from the town involved, because it's required.
It's required, and
Right,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah, so the town would certainly reach out to the Nugent family, but
Right, and then I can follow up on
Yeah.
whatever progress is being made there.
exactly.
and you can be on top of the town to make sure stuff doesn't fall through the
Yeah.
cracks. Because that does happen.
I'll be visiting your office.
Excellent. Thank you,
There
Frank.
we go.
I appreciate
Sure.
that, and hopefully we can actually make some progress on this
All right.
particular one. Even though it's not a purchase, I think any headway would be good. All right. Any other questions about the grant? All right. Next on the agenda is to reschedule our special meeting at Alice Newton Street Park. This is one that we keep trying to have. And this is relating to reviewing our proposed rating system and using the Alice Newton Street Park as the example, since we have a abundance of information on the parcel. I see everybody bringing up calendars. I love it. Now that we're in winter, does this mean calendars are more available? I hope.
No?
Not even close. Except
I won't be available. Sorry.
let's see. Saturday. I'm okay looking out to February. It gives us a little more time, 'cause I think there's some homework that we can do without being on the property. I do want to talk about, perhaps even at the next meeting. So if we push it to February. And you said after the 10th?
That weekend I can do the 10th. the
First
11th.
weekend?
I'm
Is there President's Day in February? All right, so the 12th.
no, it's the 19th. Least according.
I'm going to go with that. So the 10th, Sunday, well, then
That's a
Julie
Saturday. The 11th.
said, oh, wow, I'm on 2019. I am on the wrong year. Holy
It's
cow.
gonna do that in a second.
So the 10th, yeah?
Saturday the 10th?
Saturday, February 10th.
What time?
I'm a morning guy, so I could be out there at 7:30, but I think other people would be unhappy
Well, 10
about that.
o'clock? Well, I mean, I don't think anybody else is going to want to go before 9:30, 10 o'clock.
Let's go with 10 o'clock, because maybe we'll get snow and people will have to shovel or
Rating
something.
system at Alice. Is that what we're calling it? Rating system special meeting?
Yes. Yep. And it'll be at 10 o'clock. Not at night. Gotta make sure I make it AM. Yeah. Especially when you set your alarm at night
Mm.
for the next night and you don't wake up in time. All right. So at our next meeting, I do want to talk about some of the things that we can do in advance based upon the written literature that we have and resources online around native species, invasive species, endangered species of plants and animals. We can do that without walking the property. We'll use the literature that's available. And I will let the Woodbridge Parks Association know as well, because they can have some representatives available to go with us. All right. Any other comments or thoughts on that particular walk and the stuff around? All right. Next up, review and approve our 2018 meeting date. I apologize for not circulating this to everybody ahead of time, but I assure you it is every third Thursday of the month. I went through the calendar for 2018. That's how I ended up on February 2019 just a second ago. And it didn't seem to conflict with any particular holiday. I know in the past, attendance gets light around August. My preference is to still schedule it, and if we find that it's not going to work, we'll bump it or cancel it. But I'd like to keep it up. Is there any thoughts or concerns about?
Is that what we did this
Seems
year?
to work.
Yep.
Okay,
Every third Thursday at 7:30 p.m. That way we can get this space and it doesn't conflict with finance generally.
Why they have
In March time frame, is that when the budgets start getting hot and heavy and the meetings run longer?
Really,
So we may have to find ourselves a separate meeting space come that time. But the idea is this room, 7:30 p.m. every third Thursday. All right. All in favor of that schedule for 28? Actually, my motion is every
I'll
third
second
Thursday.
your motion.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Didn't have discussion. All right. We're moving right along. 2018-2019 budget. Now, this is the dilemma of the guy that collects and aggregates all the data. He doesn't actually read it through the first time around. So we had set ourselves some homework to look at, what do we have, 20 towns, 2 towns or so of comparable size and makeup of Woodbridge, and just get an idea of what their budgets were, conservation and how it's part of the overall town, and in that town, what's their makeup of open space. And we divvied up homework, and I compiled it all together. I got Tracy's info today. I didn't get a chance to incorporate it into the larger document, but I will, just so we've got it available. Everybody had a chance to get through it. I actually had hoped to try and condense some of the critical bits of info into a single spreadsheet with town and number
But
and
it's
town and number.
hard
Yeah.
when you Woodbridge, you might have these WLT, municipal, state, all, but then you don't know if there's, like, when you see it in,
Yeah.
you don't know total. You can't really say it total.
It was, from my perspective, a challenge to go through other towns' websites
Yeah.
to find budget information in a meaningful manner,
Mm-hmm.
and even harder to find open space.
I found
It was
the-
cool
the-
doing the research, and I was reading it, and I kind of like, I was like, oh, it's homework, oh my gosh, and then it was fun.
To
I
see
found
what other
it
people did.
Yeah.
on the plans of conservation and development, just Googling those, those talented enough to find it on the web. So.
But you found it.
Our website was pretty good.
Or actually, the budget was
Yeah.
harder to find. They were in different
The
places on all the
exactly.
websites.
Oh, yeah.
So it really wasn't the POCD. Yeah. Crazy.
And
I had trouble finding the amount of funded conservation
Right.
would be getting.
Nothing.
Right.
Some of them
Yeah.
were combined with
Right.
other
Some were-
commissions
yeah.
or entities that the town had,
Mhm.
so there was no
They
way
took,
of judging what the conservation budget was.
But the thing that I did was pretty, like, relative, portion of
the overall town budget.
yeah.
Mhm.
So that made more sense.
$1
Yeah,
and,
like-
and $0.
Right.
Yeah, for,
0.000.
for the size town we have,
No,
I
the
think
$1,
it was
like
pretty
percentage.
comparable to
$1. I
some
think
other
to keep the
towns.
line item.
Oh, I see.
Some towns definitely allocated much more.
And there was one that was way up there.
I say Old Lyman, Old Saybrook were pretty big in terms of percentage, but Durham had the largest, 0.1% of its budget for
Okay.
their conservation commission.
I know a river
Yep.
area and the shoreline and
Yep. So they've got the wetlands
Yeah.
and the tidal areas. Yep.
So when I noticed after I did my, you were including space that you sold at any.
In some cases, yeah. For Woodbridge, I leveraged what we had in the POCD, and I put that in as the example to kind of spur everybody else to look at maybe POCDs to find what you're looking for, knowing that every town's got a different way of organizing and categorizing their open space, almost to a frustrating level.
So I can update that. I know at least one town space that wasn't protected.
Yeah.
So that was separate.
Yep. I think however they concern themselves around their open space, use their definition, whether it's protected or not. And their level of protection might mean different things compared to what we do. I'm sure there's some commonality.
That's what I like seeing, all the people to read the same. We were talking about. Everyone's talking about this.
Yeah.
It was me. It was just
And,
us.
or to see what
Everyone cares.
or to see what they're doing differently than us and how we might want to use that. So all of that being said, I don't know as it really changes our general position on our budget overly much.
Oh, it should definitely be more.
Just like Durham, we gotta
would
gotta
love
pump
to
this
have
back up.
more, but I don't think we're gonna realistically get.
So
a lot.
I mean,
just as a refresher, and for those that are ever watching this video, in the 16-17 budget, conservation was allocated $2,700. In the 17-18 budget, we have $900. The difference is that office supplies, envelopes, mailing fees, and whatnot were taken out, as well as printing and binding. We haven't made any publications in a while. And general professional services was also pulled out. And that's how we got pulled down to $900. Now, I'll also say that we have never run into the situation where we've needed money and the town said no. My feeling is that when we have needed general professional services, we ask and propose this is what we would like to do, and then money is moved around to meet the needs.
like if we go forward and ask for the money to do new assessment.
Right, that would be
Okay.
general professional
Okay.
services.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
So we'll be saving the town some money this year and working a smaller budget.
So yeah, right now for the 17-18, we proposed our normal higher total of 6,200. We received 900. Somehow we've struggled on.
Yes.
We can continue to propose our total of
I
6,200.
mean, only because if we are going to pursue assessments, then at least we tried to have the budget for it.
Mhm.
It seems silly
How
not
much
to
would
ask.
you-
I mean, they can obviously we cannot get it, but we could ask for it still.
How much would the assessment
Well, if it's
so-
2,000 to 4,000 an assessment,
per
And-
assessment?
and we
per
need
assessment.
a minimum of 2 assessments, that's 6,200 isn't even enough
Right.
for
And
depending
that
on the assessment.
and in those cases, I think the money had been pulled from the open space fund that was available. We got a buffer. I think it's been slowly whittling down. We're probably in the 70,000s.
Could have foreseen that we try to need to pay for, and we are right. And
I don't know what
or
sort
do
of.
we need
I'm
attorneys
sure
for
there's got to be some
attorney fee for that?
fees and
I'm sure
professionals
there's
involved to get
something.
easement. It's something that I don't have any experience with.
Well, we can always ask the town for money for that, I suppose.
It might be better to request it budget first.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
just
not- you know, that
So
makes
request
give up
something,
before
but not
we
quite as
even-
much as
yeah,
we were.
We don't have to give up before we even ask.
I mean,
I'm always of the opinion just ask for more.
Yeah.
I agree.
I mean, make sure it's not just an arbitrary number. Make
No,
sure
no,
there's
no,
rationale behind
Yes.
it.
And that
And-
other property you might send to us, that's something we'd want an assessment on.
I mean, if we're going to go forward with the grants and the requirement is assessments, then that's a real need. I mean,
So one assessment
Right?
is.
Okay.
what she said. Yes.
Okay.
If we wanted to move forward to look at these proproperties, we would have to get.
yeah.
Right, so we need
Assessments and
assessments.
we-
They
and we-
require
That's
it.
what I'm
the
saying,
grant.
so.
And knowing that this deep grant comes around every year,
Mhm.
even though they always say they're going to take it away,
Mhm.
it seems to survive.
Like we need to ask for 8,000.
Um,
Yeah, right. 10,000. Do I hear 12,000? two.
We should probably have enough money at least for one assessment.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
we should,
One
we
assessment.
Two,
should
well, if we need
definitely-
two for any grant.
Yep. Really.
To assess and lawyers.
Right. 8,000. Sure. You're gonna just laugh at us.
Although, are we outside of the time frame for?
That's
For-
next
Well,
year.
for
Right.
next year.
For
But we
next year.
need them for next year.
Yeah.
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 So if let's say that we actually happen to get the easement, and through this discussion with Nugent over the next 6 to 8 months, they become agreeable to sale, then we have to use a budget.
Right. And how
get the
long?
assessments.
How long is the assessment before it expires?
A year.
For the purposes of this grant, it's only
A year, valid
year.
for a year?
Yeah.
So if
okay.
we were to get an
That's why
assessment
it's-
in November,
Yeah. So we don't want
next
to
year.
waste it. Obviously, we don't want to waste the money and get it the assessment and not get to use it. So,
all right. So I've adjusted the professional services to 8,000.
Okay.
Printing and binding. This could be anything that we do. We ever get our act together and want to print out something beautiful like this, or if we wanted to provide some general information to the public,
Or those signs.
If we were,
or having the local print shop actually print sandwich board signs.
we were
or the
crazy
lawn
organized.
signs.
We could plan our
Those are
trail walks
cheaper.
in advance and print a flyer that put near the trail maps.
Yep.
That would have them
Yep.
there for the year.
So it sounds like we do want to include numbers for here on printing and binding. 600 is something that's been carried over since I came in as chairman. So it's just been a number that we've had. Not completely ridiculous. Professional development and dues, that has remained in place at 500 a year. And we do dip into it. Leland and I went up to Kakiwik. There's another seminar workshop coming up. I think it's in March. I think it's Connecticut Land Conservation Council. I think has their. I think that's the one in March. And there's others in the state as well. Some of them are free, but others do charge for it. So it's worth keeping in.
Mm-hmm.
Programs and publicity. This gets back a little bit to what I was suggesting earlier tonight. Is we do some publicity around Trail Walk, whether it's creating the sandwich boards or even putting an advertisement into a paper, whether it's online or actually physical paper.
To go into or the Westwood or the
No.
local papers.
No.
No.
So, yeah.
And then there you can always check the website to make sure it's not.
We put something on the paper, but the Bethwood patch.
The online one?
Generally
Yeah.
not. Generally, they'll take any public event and advertise it for you.
I don't know if anyone looked.
That's
the
the other
Bethwood
question.
Bethwood patch somehow pops up on my phone.
Like a push.
Maybe you have the Patch app.
A lot of
It
people have
pushes
that.
I don't think I have that, but I don't know how that.
Did you?
I hope it's helpful.
It is helpful.
Okay.
That's good.
Because it's very local news.
It is.
Yeah.
Why didn't you come to?
Why didn't I
phone?
come to the app?
Did it come up on your phone?
All right.
All right,
Sorry.
yeah, let's reel it
Are
back.
you worried?
Budget.
I
Let's
didn't
reel it
realize
back.
It was in front of your house. Sorry.
All right,
Thank
so
you.
the last item is office supplies, envelopes, mailings, and whatnot. Miscellaneous materials. $200. Some of them do seem redundant. Office supplies, we've never really done a mailing. No one's proposed we do a mass mailing.
Well, Woodbridge Land Trust does mailing.
Yeah.
Well, to collect for
Yeah.
money.
Right.
Yeah, so we're not asking for money.
And I,
So we don't need to do a mail. I would think that's why we would need to do mailing.
or if we're trying to
Yeah.
make the public aware of something that we're doing and we want to hit everybody in the
Oh,
town.
okay, right. That's.
Postcard with it. So
I don't think we
It's-
can
well,
need
it's
to
a
spend
thing.
money on that. I feel like that can be electronic.
I agree.
Or it could be part of a publicity
Or-
budget.
Woodbridge News, that thing that comes in the
Yeah.
mail, the little
Yeah.
thing that's
Yeah, that's
9 by 11.
Flyer.
All right.
It's like a little. It's cute.
So we all seem a little wishy-washy on the office supplies part of the budget. So I'm going to strike that out. It was 200.
Okay,
So
let's see, we're saving money. We are so frugal.
So the current proposed budget is general professional services of 8,000, and that's for the appraisals and attorney's fees
Right.
and filing fees
For
that
real things.
would have to happen.
All right, I'm sorry. Can you like stop? Stick the office supplies with something else. Maybe increase that.
Printing and binding.
Kind
Yeah,
of have it a category and just add a little bit more. I don't think we need.
good thinking.
I'll put it into the printing and binding and add it for $50. Printing and binding, that's for producing any materials that we would like to produce. Flyers, sandwich boards. Eventually, we talked about doing overall town map. I know we've got individual maps for the
Mhm.
trails, but maybe an overall town map.
Mhm.
Professional development and dues at $500. This, in addition to the professional and development, that does include just general membership to organizations like the Connecticut Land Conservation Council, their membership dues. And then programs and publicity at $400.
You know, I'm of the mind that like tight budget time and we're not getting any money. But if you start eliminating a line, you're never going to get it. So if you just keep it in there and you keep asking, they keep saying no, fine. But if we just take it out, then you'll ever trying to get it back in, even if by some miracle Woodbridge is flush with money. It's not, now you're trying to add something new as opposed to continue to ask for the same thing.
Mhm. Good point.
There's a good point.
I would just leave it. In allocating funds, the rationale may be, we're not going to give you that money, we'll give you this for your assessment. Fine. They can decide what.
All right, so if we put office back at 200 and move printing and binding back down to 600, as I see Betsy script back and forth.
Trying to mess up the minutes, keep you on your toes.
We're not raising any.
I've got this all in Excel spreadsheet, so it's super. I'll give it to you.
You mean
So-
we're not increasing any?
So, well, our overall proposed is 9,700,
Which is more.
which is more than anything we've asked for in the past.
So that,
And like I said,
But it's real.
I'd always prefer to ask for more, knowing that you
Well,
might
but-
not get it.
But it's real. It's not like
Okay.
with
Mhm.
the stuff we've talked about, right?
Mhm.
You think, Frank?
It's if you feel that it's a legitimate ask and we have real justifications.
Well, it's how much more? We're not talking that much more, actually, and everything gets more expensive as we go forward.
Well, last year we proposed 6,200. This year we're proposing 9,700. So it's a
It's a
So 3,000
substantial increase.
percent wise, it's a big increase. Dollar wise, it's not a lot.
And that's all based on the increase in the assessment.
That's based upon what we would like to try and do later this year or later in 2018, assuming that we can
Exactly,
get.
yeah, as far as the assessment, most of it goes to the assessments, I believe.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And they're expensive.
Well, where did
So that's too expensive.
budget last? I mean, if we
When the last time we did it, we had general professional services at $1,000. That was the 16-17 budget. And we ate through that, and then the rest came from, I believe, the open space fund dollars that the town has set aside for open space. So,
Did
the
you do
more
that
we eat
again?
into that as a
The
general
less money
fund,
we have to buy property,
right.
that,
Oh, I-
yeah.
so we don't want to drain
all
that.
right.
And what
so-
we haven't yet proposed, and Leland has mentioned this, and I'm certainly somewhat of a proponent of it, is starting to put back in an item that increases that open space fund so it grows, so that when we do have an opportunity that needs a great deal of funding, that we've got the money available and it's been built up and set aside.
Who does? Or is our
Well, I think that's how the fund got there to begin with. Now Tony has always indicated to me that if we have a need and there's interest and support, it can go to a bond and money can be acquired that way.
Well, we're not.
We're not there yet.
No.
All right. So everybody is comfortable with what we've described with a total of 9,700. All right, so I'll make the motion that we approve this proposed budget, and I'll get it over to the necessary people. Is there a second? Any other discussion? Let's vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And Betsy, I can get you the specifics if you need it. And where's the agenda? There it is. Okay. We're down to the chairman's report. Everybody take home their habitat, please. There's this that had come through, a call to action for Connecticut's conservationists, and this is what you had sent to me, but this is the actual paper version. And I still haven't figured out the dates on it. I don't know if it's an all-year thing or not. So, now I gotta find it. I brought it up. There is a need for volunteers for a bird study in the state. They're looking for at least 600 volunteers across the state to evaluate the status of Connecticut's bird life and identifying critical habitats. So if you're a birder or an aspiring birder, this would be something you'd be interested in.
Birders.
Um,
I feel like we met
there's
a
a-
bird
watcher.
Remember he had the binoculars?
Oh, there's quite a few
I've
in
only
town
done-
for sure.
Who?
I've only done one walk, so.
Do you remember him, Frank?
As distinguished from a parrot.
He. All right. Anyway, if we remember him, we can ask him if he wants to do it.
So yeah, so in 2018 there
Probably
will
knows.
there will be a need for actually it's over the next 3 years as I'm skimming this information right here. So if there is interest, let me know and I'll figure out where you're going. I don't think any of us here are particular big birders. I've got my bird
interesting,
feeder.
but I don't know how much. Big birders. I do have a bird feeder.
Turkeys love my bird feeder. And this giant deer. Well, very strange. All right. The other item that I was going to bring up, because it was mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, the Amity trail runners that had come to our September meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Remember the high school student that was interested in starting up a high school club to help maintain the trails in town. He had generated enough interest in the school and was getting signatures and support from fellow students. At this point, that's all I know, but I know Lauren and Frank actually ran into Sam on a walk,
Right.
and
he was still very enthusiastic, and it seemed like he was indicating that either was happening or about,
Yeah,
the cleanup was happening, or he had a whole plan.
I don't remember exactly, but he said he's getting a lot of support. And his father's helping him, and he's got some adults helping, and he's getting a lot of interest from the runners are all for it because they use the trails.
We saw him running while we were walking on whatever walk that was. Their team was running, and I said, "Oh, that's Sam," and then he doubled back, and then I was worried he wasn't going to catch up. Remember?
And he stopped. He was really excited about what was happening with that. Yeah. So I think maybe we should invite him to another meeting and just get the full details.
Yeah.
all right,
I'll point.
So I'll follow up with
Because
Sam
it
to see
seems
where
like
things
good
stand.
manpower. Those kids,
Mm-hmm.
those young adults, those
Yeah.
young.
I know they've been in Sheila and Beth to discuss. They're kind of trying to flesh out their plan. And I know there was talk of sending them over to after they have things a little more organized. It does seem like there's a lot of enthusiasm.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
great.
they are very enthusiastic.
All right. I'll see if he's maybe by our January meeting got his ducks in a row and wants to come back and give us an update and a presentation. Okay. That is all the news that I have.
Good.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
All
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Jason.
Thank you, Jason.
right. Good meeting. Got a lot done.
And it was brief.